Go.
Hi guys, welcome to our hot tips of the week with Ash and Jackie. How you going this week, Ash?
I'm well, Jackie. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you for a, what is it, Wednesday?
Yeah, it's always a Wednesday.
Yes, yeah. No, pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited to talk about this because I get very passionate about like mindset and personal development. So what we're going to be doing some a little bit different today is talk about getting that healthy and bulletproof mindset of a successful investor and giving you some tips and case studies and things on how to improve their mindset.
Yeah, because I think that with a lot of people, it's good to share how other investors are thinking and what they're doing and really learning from each other, because otherwise you just assume that you're the only one experiencing something, you know what I mean, when it comes to
Mm,
maintenance. I know that I've been doing my investor catch-up calls this month, and when I had a client who actually said to me, "Oh, I think I'm getting lots of maintenance." And then when I looked through his stuff, I said, "Actually, you're not. In comparison to other investors, your
mm.
maintenance is actually quite low. Like, I'm really happy with it." And I shared some examples of some high maintenance, and then that shifted his mindset, and then went, "Oh, okay, maybe it's not that bad." But you don't know unless you compare yourself a little bit.
Oh, definitely. And I see a real difference in because obviously I specialize for our business over here in like a lot of multi-owners and how they've grown it. So it's really night and day when you compare how some of these people view it versus the more emotional investor. So one tip, and this is probably the joys of having an interstate investment, is not driving past all the time and creating that additional pressure for the tenants not maintaining the yards or things. That's why you have a property manager in place. So try to put those like boundaries in place. Like I've got properties that I've actually never seen before, specifically to try and help with not feeling emotional towards it. And yeah, so that's a good tip, try to keep it, you just treat it as a business, really.
Yeah. Do you ever talk about accidental investors and intentional investors? Does that terminology something that you hear about?
Yeah, yeah, I call it more of, yeah, pretty much accidental where they previously lived in it or like yeah, generally it's when they're upgrading their property and they keep it. Um,
And it sometimes
versus
as well when they inherit properties or they can't like physically sell it for some reason, like, and yeah, and accidental landlords are quite emotional, so they're probably
mm,
the ones that I'm assuming are driving past your rentals.
yeah, exactly. And my opinion to it is it doesn't have to be emotional. And it's already, there's already a lot of moving pieces to it. If you add in the emotion of how it makes you feel in the moment, then it does make the journey very stressful. And it also makes it, it's not feasible to scale a portfolio. If you're getting stressed over, you got one or two properties and you're chatting to all the neighbors and you've got driving past all the time, and every time there's a maintenance issue, it's a personal attack against you, because there are investors I've worked with in the past that find it to be like almost like a like if there's maintenance or something, the tenants are being disrespectful or the tenant must have damaged it. And that's just kind of like one of the layers in it as well.
Yeah, and I think sustainable investing is such a big thing at the moment. And I remember when it must have been about 5 years ago, I had this a whole heap of, like, in my area, we've got a lot of older landlords where they've had the property for 20 years, and they didn't start thinking about maintenance and all of that on their property. So when they were told you have to do this work now, they were actually in a situation where they were forced to sell because they couldn't hold on to the property because they couldn't afford $10,000, for example, to freshen it up. And that was quite a shame. So I think that by treating things as that business and unemotional and
Yeah.
really rely on your property manager, like, like we're your employee, you're the business owner and we're your employee, you
Yeah.
delegate the jobs to us. And because the easier you can have, the easier having an investment is, the more likely you are to purchase more. And I think maybe like we could sort of talk about, like, you've got an owner mindset in one place, but you've also got what can a property manager do to make it a little bit easier for you as well. So I think that comes down to, number one, trusting the property manager and having a property manager you trust completely to say, this is what we need to do. This is the best option for you. I think it's also making sure that you've got those regular rent increases so that they're in line. And I think smaller, consistent is better than not doing any for 3 years and then doing like a really big one, which I think could backfire quite easily. But little things like tax depreciation, making sure that you've got that schedule in there to help with your tax savings. I'm at the moment going through inspections. In WA, we can do 4 a year, but to be honest, I think 4 a year is ridiculous on some properties, especially apartments. So I'm saying to those clients, let's cut that back to 2 a year, and then that's, saving them $150 a year. It's all those little things like that that can actually save you money, but make the investment journey easier so that you want to hold on to it long term.
Oh, definitely. And I think there's something in that, having that trusting relationship with your property manager. So like I am known for, and like lots of clients know, that I'll make calls on their behalf on things like, hey, I'll just say that this is what needs to be done. Because often when you have a conversation with an owner about a maintenance request, at the end of the day, you always come to the same conclusion of like, yeah, we're going to fix that. And we also will like decline things on their behalf and say, oh, no, they're not doing any upgrades at the moment. So having that conversation with your property manager and just outline the expectations from day one of how much space do you want them to have? How much control do you want them to have? Do you want to have, don't contact me for maintenance under $500 or $800? And if you trust your property manager and you've got the right agent who treats your money like their money, then they're going to make the right calls. And then that removes a lot of that communication about things, and that things are getting done. So I and same with some of my properties, I've told the property manager, just literally just do whatever you think needs to be done. If there's a handyman when the tenant vacates, just do whatever you think needs to be done in between that tenancy and send me the bill, because they're on the ground and I trust them enough to manage the property, so I should trust them enough to make those calls on my behalf as well.
I'm just thinking about our portfolio. The owners, my really big bulk owners, where they own 10 properties, 15 properties, those actually, even the ones that own more than sort of the 6 property mark, they're the ones that they don't want to be caught. They trust us to do the maintenance. They're the ones that actually keep on building their portfolio. And it's my single ones that single portfolio owners are the ones asking for 2 quotes for a shower head. And that's just an absolute waste of everybody's time. Apologies if you're listening to and you are one of those clients that asked me. It is a waste of time. Shower heads are about $190 between $150 and $250. You don't get quotes for things like that. You just get it done and trust that our plumbers that we use all the time, they give us the best prices possible. Do you know why? Because they want our business. So that type of thing is an example, and maybe that can change your mindset. The multi-landlords are not calling us, asking us for quotes. They're just letting us get it done.
I actually have a few clients that I look after like 8 or 9 properties for them. I'm going to call one today because sometimes there's like, for example, there's one tenant in arrears and there's a bit of maintenance and stuff going on. I'm like, oh, I haven't spoken to him in a while, but I'll call him because as a property manager, you start to think like, oh, I haven't spoken to him in a while. He's probably thinking like, oh, Jackie doesn't contact me enough. Call him, run through some stuff. And he's like, oh, great. Yeah, you're doing a great job. So that's having that, you're essentially running an accommodation business. So you own the property, you're the business owner of the portfolio. And like you said, the employees are the property managers who run it on your behalf.
And clean up your mess.
Clean it up, get it sorted. And you don't want to, I think you don't want to be too frugal with things. You definitely don't want to overpay for anything, but there's a certain cost of labor and things that go with, you got to send someone out to do those shower heads as well.
Yeah, but property managers don't want to overpay for anything either. I mean, I know my property managers will call up someone and say, hey, what the hell is wrong with that bill? And I'm not going to use you again if you keep on doing that. Like property managers do that to contractors.
Oh, I do it all the time. I'll get a bill and I'll be like, mate, that should be $900 maximum, and it's $1,200, and they'll often just reduce it. And that's the things behind the scenes. Like the client wouldn't even know that we've had that conversation.
No, absolutely not. Well, I think that is a good little topic for people to listen to today. I think that if there are any topics or questions as well that those listening have, even if it's a situation, I would love for you to comment or privately message if you want it to be anonymous as well, and just put a situation, and then maybe Jackie and I could talk through that situation and give a few different viewpoints of what we would do. I think that would be quite a fun thing to do next week if anyone is.
Yeah, that's actually really exciting. Send through any questions or tricky situations or something, and then at least you can get a different perspective from both of us and maybe work through the issue as well.
Excellent. Sounds good. All right, Jackie, I know you've got to go, so I'll see you next week, and send those messages through. Comment on this one. Otherwise, anonymously, we promise to keep them anonymous and just troubleshoot them next week for you.
Yeah, beautiful. Have a great week. See you, Ash.
Bye.